So,
no problem. No problem.
all right. So my special guest is K Rose himself, Kyle Micah Rose. Woo! Hey there. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Sorry, I'll filter that like I did 6'5's intro and put like the sounds, all the crazy stuff. Like I'm gonna edit it so we can pretend like it's not just me cheering in my room, but like
you gotta hook it up.
We gotta hype you up, man.
Sure.
All right, so K Rose, thank you so much for letting me interview you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get a little bit more of an in-depth perspective from your podcast. I want to hear about it. So tell us first a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we're going to hop right into your podcast.
Got you. So I'm K Rose, from the Philadelphia, Delaware area. I'm a basketball player, podcaster. And, I'm just right now during this like quarantine and social distancing, just trying to be productive, doing a few different things. So that's like a basic overview of what I'm doing now.
You're so much more exciting than that. You're like wicked humble. You're like, oh yeah, I play ball and I podcast. No, you just hit 1,000 views, right? Or the listenership. I can't talk.
Yeah, so my podcast, The Laundromat Show, just recently started it with two of my other friends. And like you just mentioned, I believe this is going to be our 10th episode coming up. And we just actually reached that plateau of 1,000 views. So I'm excited.
Congratulations. That's so awesome. So you just mentioned the podcast name is The Laundromat. I know why it is called that, but can you tell the viewers why your show is called The Laundromat?
Okay, so basically it's a play on being washed. Like have you heard that saying? Do you know what that saying is? Like when you're washed, you're not what you used to be.
Yes, like a washed up type. Yeah.
Exactly. So basically my two other friends, Malik and Anthony, we all played ball in college together. So we formed our friend group back in college. So we were all former athletes at the school. So when we left school, our group chat became the laundromat because, we ain't athletes no more. We all washed up. We ain't what we used to be. And so that was like the play on the word. So that was the name of our group chat. And a lot of our conversations became really dope. And we're all close friends. So that ended up becoming the title, The Laundromat Show of our podcast.
That was so creative because I'm just like, laundromat, I wonder why. And then when I actually listened to the podcast and you guys explained it, I'm like, that is so genius. I love it because people don't make that connection normally because like people would continue to play off like a sports theme or doing something to have that like connection. But your show is so much more than just talking about sports or having that connection between the three of you. You guys have talked about some really cool topics. So name like one of your favorite episodes that you guys have recorded, like that was a topic that you loved.
Yeah, so on the Laundromat Show, I'm glad you brought that up. Like I said, we're all three former hoopers. But the biggest thing for me as far as having a podcast, I didn't want to be stuck in that box. And my other friends, they didn't want to get stuck in that box of just talking about sports-related things. So my favorite episode so far is episode 3. And the title of episode 3 is called Add the Sum. And that episode is actually a very serious episode. We talk about how Black men can protect Black women. We talk about a few different things. A lot of other things we talk about on our episodes have to deal with, we're all Black guys and coming up and how we see the world and a lot of things that's going on right now with social injustice and things like that. So that was probably my favorite episode because we spoke about how we can protect Black women and what we as Black men have to do to hold ourselves accountable amongst our friends.
That's amazing. I love that because you guys are, I don't want to say like in an influential stage, but you're growing into your adulthood because you guys are like early to mid 20s right now. And just to see the world through your perspective of you were basically raised on social media, so having this element of like how to treat somebody or when to speak up. I mean, because, I was just listening to your episode last week when, they were talking about like, okay, this kid was charging his friends if they could say the N-word, he was getting the money. And when is it appropriate to say the N-word or somebody that is not Black says it? And is it appropriate? Does it bother you guys? And it was so good to hear like your perspective because you guys are like so saturated with social media and different opinions. And sometimes it's hard to form your own opinions being influenced, but you guys really are like headstrong and your opinions and how you feel about situations. And I love it because like literally you guys were like jumping from like entanglements to like, you know, like fun topics and stuff like that to like getting to really serious issues. And I think there's a lot of people out there, especially because you guys are an all male cast, right?
Yeah.
So stupid. I mean, you're co-host, but I'm gonna pretend you're a cast. But you guys all have such different perspectives and different life upbringing. And you talked about your dad and your stepdad and all these things on your podcast. And I'm like, this is so great because you get a real background story of these three strong Black men. And you're talking about, you know, your experiences, where you see yourselves in the future. You guys are all super like-minded, but you all have different opinions on things. So I love it. I think it is super cool to hear. I also love that you shout out Black businesses every episode at the beginning. Like that is so good because especially being in the Philly or Delaware area, there may be some businesses or listeners that don't know where some of these businesses are. So the fact that you guys give them just like a quick shout out can make an entire difference. So I love that.
Thank you. I think a lot of things you just touched on is correct. You know, with the podcast, I mean, just in regular life, right? You spoke about social media. It's like you have your own personal life, but it's like everyone is connected in the world through social media. So it's like you get a lot of the celebrity news and you almost feel like you're a part of their lives because you get so many updates on what's going on. So the dope thing about our podcast is like, for me, I try to mix our personal stories about our lives, us being three Black men, ages like 25 to 28. We try to give stories of our lives. So like, you know, in some episodes, I'll talk about my father. We'll talk about entanglements in our own personal relationships with women. But the dope thing that we do with the podcast is we bounce that off and compare that to what's going on currently in like Black entertainment and in Black media and in just media in general. So, you know, like you said, for example, the entanglements with Jada Pinkett Smith. Okay, so that's a big story going on right now. We'll talk about that specific situation and see how we as three Black men in their 25, 26, how we can relate to that in our own dating lives. So we try to bring like the balance and compare everything.
Absolutely. And like you said, how we feel connected to celebrities, like they're our friends or they're our family. And if something like everybody was so upset about Naya Rivera, you know, even if you didn't watch Glee, which I wasn't a Glee watcher, I mean, nothing against the show, I just never got into it. I felt so sad for her, you know, and every day when the news, the updates of her still missing and the search party is still going on, you feel like it's a family member that you're looking after. So, you know, and trying to check in on them and make sure they're okay. So, you know, with so much information surrounded about celebrities, like how do you connect it to it is like a real life? Like at the end of the day, these celebrities are humans. They're just regular people that are just famous, you know, and how you're like, okay, I had an entanglement once too. And I was the Jada, you know, it's like, how do you like do, you know, so it's like fun that you can take like what's happening in the news and not just gossip about it, but turn it into like stories of what you have. Like Esco will be on there and he's like, oh, this just happened to me. Or you're talking about, you know, so it's always so cool to just see how you guys can take the topic and really guide it into relatable topics that are like for regular humans like us, non-famous people. Well, maybe one day. This is going to be in the archives. I already told you if I ever get a talk show, you're going to be on there. So.
Oh man, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yes, we're gonna bring you on the show. I'm like, Kay Rose, we finally made it. We're both famous enough that you're on my stage, and I'm gonna interview you. So. That's
awesome. That would be love, and hopefully that's sooner than later. But
I hope so too. I'm getting old. I can't do this retail life forever, standing up all day. I'm old, man.
You are young. You are young. We both young. You know what I mean?
I got 10 years on you, but it's all right. Thank you for thinking I'm young. I appreciate that.
Nah. It's all love. But I like how you said that. Like, you know, it's not just about gossiping. You know what I mean? It's definitely about relating, and how you can relate what's going on in the world. Maybe not just with celebrities, but just in general with your own personal life. And I think I personally find a lot of fun in making those connections when we are talking about, okay, what are we going to talk about this episode or that episode? And just showing the different facets. You know, we're three former basketball players, but I don't want to just talk about basketball. You know, I got way more going on than just basketball. So it's fun to, you know, branch out and do different things.
Absolutely. And it gets, you know, your listeners or even just friends and family a different perspective of you. So like say you all had a friend in college and now they're listening to it. they're seeing you guys in a different light, like growing into adulthood, post college, post basketball career, you know, and then they're like, oh my God, I never know that like K Rose had a soft spot for like, you know, butter pecan ice cream or something like random, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you talk about all of these things that, you know, you're just giving people an inside look into your life. I think it's so dope. Like all your topics that you guys discuss, I just love it. It's good quality. Like I'm engaged the entire time I'm listening. It's just fun. I was listening to my car the other day. My mom was at the car dealership getting a new car, and I'm like, all right, it's so hot. I don't want to sit in there. I went in my car to finish the episode because I was listening to it earlier in the morning. So I was like, I gotta finish this. Like I can't just like, you know, listen halfway through. But speaking about topics, like who does the kind of like the creative direction on choosing the topics for each episode? Do you guys all have like a fair share, or does somebody kind of take the lead in that?
So I would say we all have a fair share, so we all can contribute whatever ideas we might want to speak on. I would say, as far as the content, I take the lead on that. That's probably my role. So
Okay.
I'll do a lot of the research about what's happened, because we're kind of a current events podcast. So I'll see what's happened in the past week. I'll get on social media. We record on Sundays, so I usually do that. You know, procrastination. I usually do that about Friday, Saturday, where I look up some topics and then I create like an outline. And we pretty much, you know, with conversations, you can have an outline and certain ideas about what you want to speak on, but you know, the conversation springs forth from that. So I make a little general outline and kind of lead the way with that in that way.
That's so awesome. So what would you say, because I already kind of asked you about your favorite episode and topic and all of that, but like what challenges have you experienced during the podcast? Because it is hard to have three people, you know, you guys are like super committed and like every Sunday you are meeting and all of that, but like what challenges have you had experiencing, whether it's from like the recording aspect or the scheduling aspect, you know, for just, you know, having a podcast?
Yeah, I would say, well, here was a big problem that we faced. So here was
Dun,
one.
dun, dun. No,
Yeah. Oh my goodness, this suspense. But so we actually one day, this was actually recently, this was last week, we recorded an episode. So we record our podcast, we go to a studio. We utilize a studio, so we all travel there. So we recorded the episode and we were done. It was a great episode. We're like, wow, that was good. The engineer comes upstairs and he goes to save the episode, and the app crashes and the entire episode is deleted. So you already know, Katie, like an hour and a half of speaking, we having a great convo. We like, yo, this is one of the best episodes ever. And it's just gone. So I think a big, you know, something you got to like work with is like those type of situations where you might delete the episode and you don't have a backup. And the biggest thing with podcasting that I'm learning is consistency. So it's like you don't want those things to happen because you want to make sure you have an episode for your listeners every week. So I think that's the biggest thing, just trying to stay consistent, avoid those pitfalls. And, you know, sometimes just having the energy, like sometimes you're like, man, we gotta do another one this week, but it's fun, you know what I mean? But just staying consistent.
No, and that's awesome. And I love the fact that you guys like took what was so misfortunate and you twisted it like, hey guys, we don't have an episode for you this week, but that means that you have the opportunity to catch up on all the other ones before this. And I loved that. I was like, yeah, it kind of gives people, you know, because it's like life happens and now things are starting to open up. Our lives are getting busier and busier again, like how they were pre-quarantine. So people don't always necessarily have the time to listen. If they miss 1 week, they're going to miss week 2. And then so I love that you're like, no, we're going to give you a brief pause. We want you to catch up. And then we'll see you next week, and we're going to come back with it.
Exactly. You got to spin it into a positive. Well, let me ask you this, though, because you know, you got your show. What's a thing for you? Like, what's a issue for you?
So I will say consistency is not normally a problem for me. I do try to, you know, stay kind of like a time management because my show does post on Wednesdays, that I kind of collect the info, you know, the moment on Wednesdays when I'm like, all right, the show is now aired, I'm already thinking of next week's episode. I will say I have taken a brief pause like 2 separate times. One of them was during all the riots that were taking place for George Floyd, because where I normally talk about like celebrity gossip and get into fun stuff, that was such a serious time that I'm like, it's not appropriate. Even if I had it in my heart to talk about stuff, I don't want to do that. You know, I needed to be respectful because there's so many more things that were important going on in the world than to hear like, this rapper bought his, you know, baby mama a car, and then the next day like bought his new girlfriend the same car. You know, I was just like, no, I need to like turn off like that gossip segment and actually like focus on something. And I thought it was really serious, so I did, you know, do a little bit of a different spin, and I posted something on social media about powerful Black figures, because I was like, this is an opportunity for everybody, but especially white people, to learn about Black history. So I'm going to take this moment to still create some kind of content, but in a more impactful way. So that I said I took a brief break, and then you know, a few weeks ago, well, like little over 2 weeks ago, my friend had passed away, and I'm having a really tough time with his loss. So I didn't have any motivation at all to record. I was like, you know what, I don't have the headspace to do this. I don't even have the urgency to like wake up and get stuff done. I mean, I was hysterically crying for days on end. So, you know, it's things like that I've taken out of, like, since we started this media group in March, and back in April, I really started doing my show. Those are the only 2 times. So I guess like that would be like the biggest challenge, is like kind of picking myself back up and finding a way to get back on here. Because I will tell you, last week's episode, I was back home. You know, like Cape Cod Baseball League is like such like an elite collegiate league for these college athletes to come, and 1 out of 4 athletes that play actually get drafted to the major leagues. So this is like a premier baseball league, and my guest was actually an alum of the team that I always like used to like go play, and we housed players and all this stuff. So I was like, I'm going to be back home. I want to be in the dugout, but I wanted to give him the appropriate time and highlight the love and respect for him, but I still was having a hard time with losing my friend. So like having that episode, it was like short, it was quick. I was like, there's just like, I don't have the energy, but I'm going to get through this. And I feel like, you know, it's getting better every day, but separating ourselves from like, okay, here's my online personality versus like who I am as a person.
Yep.
You know, I feel like that's kind of the challenge. And like talking about celebrity gossip, you know, it's cool, but like I said, they're people at the end of the day. So I could talk shit about anybody all day, every day, and judge them. But at the end of the day, like, people do go through real stuff. Like Kanye, what he's going through is real stuff. Like, we could rag on him, but he's going through a tough time, you know? So it's like, I want to like be sensitive about stuff, but also roast the hell out of people. So it's like balance, you know?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I think you're right. You know, and that's another thing. Like, obviously, you know, we're building our platforms, but you know, we're going through real life. You know, and yes. So first, I want to give my condolences. You know,
thank you.
Because that's serious. But like you said, you know, we're going through real life, so it's like, you know, we're building our platforms and trying to build that consistency. And obviously, we both doing a pretty solid job. But you know, we're gonna have things every once in a while where it's like, okay, we need to step back and take a break. And also what you said I like is like, you know, using your platform responsibly. You know, like you said, we could talk about things going on in the entertainment and all world, but I know one thing I strive is that our podcast is, you know, we're responsible in some ways as well. Like, you know, it's going to be laughs, it's going to be entertainment, it's going to be entertainment news, but it's also going to be something serious. You know, you know, someone's going to learn something from our episodes as well. So I think that's important, just using it responsibly.
For sure. And there's people that I feel like may not have the right resources in terms of people or whatever it is to open up and talk about how they're feeling or struggle that they're going through. And to have the 3 of you guys that are so solid in talking about these things. And even like, I'm going to bring up again, like the Father's Day episode where you're like, you know what, I was lucky enough to have my dad, but also my stepdad, and he helped raise me, and he did. And having that relation where somebody could feel like, yeah, I have a dad and a stepdad, and I'm kind of lost and I don't know where to, you know, go, and what's my relationship. It's like, to have real life connections like this, people can help figure out their lives, you know, because they're listening to what you have to say and they're like, yes, I get that. I had the same life too, so I'm not alone. Or like mental health struggles, or, you know, certain other serious issues that you guys do talk about, you know, like protecting women, you just mentioned, you know, in this climate where you guys are 3 Black guys, and like, I'm not like trying to say whatever, but like, you know that you have a target on your back every day because this is how fucked up America is in society. You're still taking, like, we're a target every day, but we're still going to look out for these women and we're still going to protect them. Like, that speaks volumes about you still like being in like somewhat of a vulnerable position, or not somewhat, but like a vulnerable position every day. And you're like, I'm going to like let that down so I can go protect somebody else. Like, that's huge, you know. And right now, yeah, I mean, it's so important right now with the dynamic of what's going on in the world.
For sure. I agree. I definitely agree. And just showing yourself. I know for me, it's awesome, you know, having a platform to just, you know, show who you are, you know, and kind of create like time capsules of what's going on in the world. So obviously, a lot of people's content, you know, if you have a YouTube channel or podcast, a lot of it is going to be speaking on what's going on in the world as far as, you know, COVID. And that's kind of like 20 years down the line, we'll be able to look back at these things and really be able to like see like, oh, wow, that was what was going on in our lives back then. So that's another reason why I enjoy having a podcast and doing it with, you know, my 2 other friends.
Yeah, like you said, a time capsule, which is so funny because if you listen to episode 3 of your show next year, like at this time, you're gonna be like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe I said this. Or, you know, you expand your knowledge on things, or you're like, oh my God, my viewpoint has totally changed. Like, it's fun to see yourself grow in these ways and have the ability to have it, whether it be on film or, you know, online or whatever it is that you can listen or watch it to see how you've grown as a human. I think it's so cool.
Exactly.
I love it.
Me too.
That's amazing. So I want to dive into a little bit, like, we're kind of segueing from the Laundromat podcast right now. You have a playlist going on. I want to talk about that.
Yeah. So with the podcast, we every Monday we just started actually. We have the laundry list. So it'll be like a playlist, a music playlist that us 3 we curate every week for, you know, listeners of the podcast, anybody that follows us, to, you know, have something to listen to during the week. So we just actually released it this is Monday, so it was released this past Monday. So it's called the Laundry List. So yeah, anybody, you know, that's into a lot of rap music or R&B, you know, we'll be giving you a nice little list of music to listen to.
I love it. It's like the Laundromat soundtrack in a sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're like, man, it's just what I was feeling at the time. Little Jay-Z right there. But that's what it is. It's like, you know, so music is so influential because it's like you could listen to a sad song and be like, I'm going to pretend this is like the window and it's raining. And you're like, oh, so sad. You know, and you like make yourself sad listening to sad songs. It's like if you think of things, you know, for different times in your life, you always have a song that connects to it. So it's like right now what you guys are doing, what you're talking about, all that, this is like the little soundtrack for like, this is also a time capsule, is like this soundtrack of what you guys are feeling week after week after week. Like, I'm going to put this on because I'm depressed as hell because my girlfriend broke up with me. So I'm going to put this song on our playlist. Or it's like, you know what, I just got this big promotion at my job and I want to celebrate it with this song. You know, it's like, it's so much fun to have music like really kind of guide you or figure out like what your mood's going to be for the week, or have it be like something like, you know.
You're right. I know these last couple of weeks I'm in like a summer vibe. So, you know, I know I didn't get to put many songs myself. It was my co-host Ant who did a lot of the songs for this playlist this week. But I know like I'm throwing Summertime by Fresh Prince on.
I knew you were going to say that.
Listen, I'm in this mood right now. So it's like I got to throw those type songs on there, you know what I mean?
You're so funny. As soon as you said a Summertime Vibes, that was the first song that popped in my head. Exactly. So I was like, all right. Is he on this? Because I'm like, again, you're in your 20s. So I was like, is this like before your time that you really could like appreciate? But that's a classic joint. So anybody can appreciate it.
I'm a throwback. I mean, I'm into rap, a little R&B, but just mostly rap. And a lot of the rap I listen to is actually throwbacks, probably before my time. So I think Summertime came out when I was born, the year I was born. But I'm into all that music back then, you know what I mean?
Okay, good. I'm like, you just froze for a second. So I was like, hey, Rose, come back to me. Come back.
Oh, okay. You back?
No, I think you're good now. It's cutting out a little bit.
What about now?
You're good.
All right, cool. Now, I was just saying that a lot of the music I listen to is actually throwbacks and stuff.
All right. So how many songs are you going to average on your playlist each week?
Probably about 10 to 15.
Okay.
More so on the 15 side.
All right. And what songs did you pick for this week's playlist? I'm so curious.
I picked a couple. So I picked The Climb Back by J. Cole. It's a new song that he just released.
Love that song. I've been listening to it on Hip Hop Nation on Sirius XM. You guys, if you hear this, give me the free membership every year, please. Thank you, because I listen to XM radio all the time. Yeah, that's a really good song. Okay.
Yeah. That was one of them. I picked a song by Wale. It's like a little club song. It's like pink, blue, yellow, white. That's the title or something like that.
Yeah.
What else? I gotta think. But I would have put Summertime on there. But I didn't think about it till afterwards. I was like, dang. But outside of that, we also are utilizing the playlist to give like underground artists in our area like a shine. So we do a lot of like newer underground artists with songs that people may not know as well on the playlist.
That's so cool. So what artists should we be looking out for that are like in the Philly area? So we got to keep them on our radar for when they blow up. We could be like, I knew about them when they were underground.
Yeah, so the one artist I'm going to just say now, it's actually my co-host Ant McKee, his little brother. His name is B. McKee, and he's from the county, which is like the suburbs outside of Philadelphia. So he's a super dope rapper, B. McKee. So anybody that's, into that, definitely check him out. He got like 1 or 2 songs on the playlist, little brother.
You have to plug him. It would be wrong not to.
No, for sure. You got to.
You got to show him that love.
But yeah,
so,
B. McKee.
All right. Now you talked about like throwback. So it's like, who's your favorite rapper?
Well, that's interesting. My favorite rapper used to be Kanye West.
Okay.
It used to be Kanye. I know that's like
it's like controversial to say it. You're like, should I say it?
No, yeah. So he used to be, and obviously because of some of his actions, I kind of fell off listening to him. But I still rock with his old music. I love it.
College Dropout is like where you're at that level. Yes.
Yeah. Graduation. That's my favorite album. Graduation, his third one. So I would say now, my favorite rapper, his name is Freddie Gibbs. He's kind of known, but not really. He's like a gangster rapper that's kind of rapping right now, but he has an old school style. So Freddie Gibbs is probably my favorite rapper, and obviously, I'm from the Philly area, so Meek is one of my favorite rappers too.
Excellent. I know. What do you think about, speaking about celebrity gossip, him and Milano already broke up and they just had that baby?
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know what to make of that, That's just, that's their relationship,
No, but it's sad. I was like rooting for them. I was like, come on, be this like beautiful little family together.
Well, you never know. Here's the thing, too. You never know. Like, I did see, like, he made, like, a public announcement, like, yeah, we not together. But, with those types of things, I'm sure, it's on and off sometimes. Like,
That's true.
They might be back. So, we got to hold out hope.
That's how, like, like Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott are. They're like, oh, my God, they're seen together. That means they're back together. And they're like, no, they're just taking their daughter for a walk. It's like everybody's going to scrutinize every move. So if Meek is with Milano and they're like at the playground with their kid, they're going to be like, are they together again?
Yeah. And, Meek and those type of people, they like run the social media accounts. Like they're like on social media, the Shade Room, all those type of platforms, they're on it. So yeah, it's like, no, they're not together. They're just being parents.
Yes, exactly. All right. Now, I have another question that just popped in my head. East Coast or West Coast rap? You have to answer.
That's tough. That's tough because I like, to be honest, I'm being really honest. I like both equally, but if I had to choose, I'm going to go East Coast. Because I probably listen to more East Coast rappers. I will go East Coast.
Like you. That's what
Yeah. Oh, so you're choosing East Coast. But you from Boston.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I will tell you. So I grew up like, that was like elementary school, right? Back when it was like really hardcore East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Like, Tupac and Biggie are getting shot. I was in elementary school when that was taking place. So even though I was like a little kid, right? Mm-hmm. I still knew what was going on. I rapped hard for East Coast. I was like, I won't listen to Tupac. And it's like the rivalries. Like Jay-Z is like my all-time favorite. So I was like, I can't listen to Nas, even though I like his stuff. Like it was like some like weird sense of like loyalty to this artist.
Yeah. No, I understand, but oh my God, Katie, that's blasphemous.
Right, exactly. as I like grew into it, I was, I mean, granted, I would still listen to him and I appreciated him, but I'm like, if I had to choose one or another, it was Jay-Z all day and it was Biggie all day. Like, that's just how it went, right? That's how, like, it was like UNC or Duke. I got UNC. You know, like, there was like certain things, like, growing up, I was like, no, you're this or you're this. Like, you can't be in between. But like, obviously I would listen to Nas, I would listen to Tupac, like, growing up, and I appreciate them so much more now, because like when I listen to their songs, I'm like, their shit bumps. Like, their lyrics resonate, especially right now when we talk about like throwback rappers are so much better than most of the artists out there right now.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I will say I'm definitely like old school, like, head in that sense. I'm like, but I had to ask you. I would say East Coast just because like that was like how I was really like raised and like super loyal to. But like California Love is like honestly like one of my favorite songs. So I'm like,
yeah, I mean that's like I mean that's why I said it's probably equal for me, because I love Tupac. I love listening to Tupac. I love Jay-Z. I love Nas. I love Snoop. So I like both of them. Today, like, just being a rap fan myself, today I probably listen to more West Coast rappers today.
yeah,
But
me too.
overall, we're talking about throwback music. It's probably more East Coast.
Yeah, like I'm always like heavy on YG. I always have a soft spot for
My sister loves YG. My sister loves YG. So
yeah, he's fantastic. I low-key want to just meet him and just pick his brain and be like, tell me about your life. Like, tell me about your white socks with red bottoms. Like, we're mixing it up right now. You know, it's like sport but dressy at the same time. And I'm just like so curious about his life. So I'm like, I want to meet him and like just hang for a day. I can't handle like alleged gang life. Like, that's not me. I can't be that ride or die, because I'm like, oh, I'll ride. Huh?
I said, you're not in the streets. You
exactly.
Can't.
Like, I'll ride, but I can't die. At least, like, if we're riding, like, tell me where we're going. You know, I'm like, I can't. No, I'm just an innocent, sweet little wholesome girl. I can't do this. But, like, I'll be in my car, and I'm like, fuck this. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, selling drugs, shooting guns. But then I get to work, and I'm like, hi, how are you? You know, it's like.
You can work and go make a coffee real quick. Go make some coffee real quick.
Exactly. But have you ever seen that meme that was like, oh yeah, you're listening to like to music about like drugs and guns, but you're really on the way to the pharmacy to go pick up Pepto-Bismol because your tummy hurts? I'm like, that's like the kind of like I am. That's like me. Your tummy hurts, like stupid, like childish stuff. But I'm like sitting there, I'm like, drugs this and gang bang and blah blah blah. What?
Nah, listen, that's me too. Because you know, you get into the music, especially because I'm a person like I love car rides just to listen to music. Yes. So you have your own concerts in the car and all that. You get into the music and all that, but I ain't about none of that life. You know what I mean? I'm chilling. So
We're living vicariously through them. Yes.
Exactly. That's what the music is good for. I live their life through the music.
Exactly. And I'm just like, I don't have to emulate their lifestyle. So I'm good with just listening to it. I'm like, I'm not built for like a street life. I can't.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't think most people shouldn't be built for a street life. They should.
No, I have like anxiety. So if I would like see, I'm like, oh my God, get me out of here. You know, I'm like, I'm just, yeah, it's not for me. It shouldn't be for anybody. I just want everybody to be safe and educated and not doing dumb shit, you know? Right. Getting involved. We need to like empower people that live in inner city, like urban areas, to give them resources, and don't think that that's the only way that they can make money or hold some type of power. We got to like enrich people.
But see, that's the dope thing too about rappers like YG and all that. They may rap about those things and they probably lived that life in the past, but they were able to use their talent to get into a better situation. So that's the dope thing about rap and all types of music. You know, you're gonna express your pain from your past life, your life in your music, but you're using the music to get you in a better situation. So that's the dope thing about specifically rap. You know what I mean? That's what I gravitate towards it so much, because these guys they had rough lives, a lot of them, but they're making a better way for themselves by expressing themselves. So absolutely. That's the dope thing.
Yeah, for sure. And even like you take a look at Nipsey Hussle, who was, a business owner and like with the Marathon company, and he was doing something like buying commercial buildings and doing all this real estate and doing education, and he was like even opening up like a STEM center, I guess if you want to call it, like the science, tech, all this stuff. He was like building that as he was like unfortunately just like unexpectedly left this earth. And I'm like, he took his talent, but was building other people up with him while he was building himself. And that's what I really appreciate, because any celebrity, anybody that comes with money, either like they're in it for themselves or they're in it to help people along the way. So I definitely appreciate them for sure.
No, and you're right. And I looked up, and I obviously I didn't know Nipsey, but he was a role model just from afar with his music. And similar to what I said earlier, utilizing your platform or your talent or whatever you got going on to express different sides of yourself. A lot of people, they get pigeonholed and put in this box, like he's a rapper or he's a thug or he's a gangster or he's an athlete, when, they're utilizing their music to create different means for their people, like you just said with Nipsey. So he had a lot of other things going on than just being a rapper who was a gang member,
Right. Absolutely. No, for sure. And I just take a look at it. It just drives me crazy that people are always like, they're an entertainer, they're an athlete, they shouldn't talk about politics, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, at the end of the day, they're citizens. And just because they're known for one particular area of their life doesn't mean that that totally defines them.
Exactly.
So when the whole Colin Kaepernick kneeling and, oh, well, he's an athlete or it's against the flag. No, it's not any of that stuff. Like, that doesn't define him, but he's trying to define and bring attention to a topic that needs to be discussed. But he used his platform in that way to bring the attention. But people fail to see that. People are going to be like ignorant and just like ridiculous about it and be like, he was disrespecting the flag. I'm like, how many times has he said that that's actually not what it's about, but you're choosing that to be your narrative, and that's why you think he should be canceled? I don't know. Exactly. I could go on all day about how much I hate people.
You could. Me too. Me too. Me too.
That's always my tagline. I'm just like, I hate everyone, and I don't. I love a lot of people, but I'm like, I hate everyone. Like, how are you going to be that stupid?
No, I feel you. I feel where you're coming from, for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, so crazy. Maybe you should talk about that on next episode. Like, I hate everyone, and then you could have a cancellation list. And
I'm cracking up. Yeah,
see what the boys come out with too.
Yeah, that would be funny. It'd probably be a long list. What we thought about.
You guys are like an hour to hour and a half for your podcast. It's like, you're like, this is an extended version. We're going to 3 hours for this cancellation list. Like, we hate everyone.
All names, all individuals that we about to name who we can't.
Give their address, their mom and dad's name, like all this stuff. We hate them. And you can give specifics, like, I hate them because, or you can be like, they know what they did to me. That's why I hate them. It's like, leave that mystery in there.
Real rap, for real.
Oh my God, I'm so crazy. Yeah, and I still want you to do that laundromat challenge that I told you about. I've been waiting for it.
I know. That is a good one. And, we doing seasons, so maybe that's something we can incorporate with the next season,
All right, because I'm ready to send my photo to you, man.
Oh, man, I love it. I see. Yes. Did you take one when you told me the challenge?
No, I didn't end up taking it because the way that my car was parked, I feel like I had to set up my phone to do a selfie because I wasn't with anybody. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and I look like a trash bag today. So I'll come when I look cute, and I'll go stand in front of the laundromat and take a picture. But I was like, cool, not today. I mean, you saw me. I was all up and like, like double chin and all on FaceTime with you. So I was like, I'm not going to be doing that today.
I'm cracking it. That's funny. I feel you.
Yes. All right. So can you tell us where we can find your podcast? Because I listen to you guys on Apple Podcasts, but I know you guys are on a few different platforms. So I want to spread the love as much as we can. Get your listenership up to like 2,000 by the end of August. I love that.
Yes. We need that. So right now you can, anyone wants to listen to the Laundromat Show, we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Anchor as well, if anyone's familiar with Anchor. And so we're actually doing our season finale. So we got 10 episodes that we've done. Moving on, we plan on going on to YouTube as well and adding video. So we have our channel. So anyone with a YouTube page, subscribe to the Laundromat Show on YouTube. We should be coming out with some episodes on there as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where you can find us now.
That's so exciting. I cannot wait to see more of what you have. I'm like actually low-key sad that you're doing a season finale right now.
Yeah.
I hope you guys will come back like within a month.
Oh yeah. It's really just to take a break and like you said, we're trying to get video. So now we put in the work to kind of we've seen what we've done initially and the positive response. Now we're trying to add some video. Also, if anyone wanted to follow us on any socials, The Laundromat Show on Facebook, The Laundromat Show on Instagram, and Laundromat Show without the on Twitter. So.
No.
Somebody must have took it.
I know, how dare they? You're like, no, that is our name. Give it back. And if anybody follows me, I do follow you guys on your YouTube. I've already subscribed, and your social media pages. So, you know, if you guys have a hard time deciphering between the word the and not having the word the there, you can just go to my followers and you can see where they are.
And here's the thing too, Katie, and this is why we're called the Laundromat Show, because there actually is the Laundromat podcast.
Are they? And what do they talk about? Like, have you listened to it?
No. So I looked them up on Google because I was like, let's make sure we're good, because we were going to be called The Laundromat. And that's already a podcast. They like 90 episodes in. I think, I don't know what they talk about. I didn't listen. So we're the Laundromat Show, you know, just to make that clear. We are not the Laundromat. We got to add the show. So
right, as they're like 90 episodes of like talking about lost socks because they're like the owner of a laundromat. And you're like, wait, that's not our show. We don't talk about lost and found socks. We talk about real topics.
Yeah. Unless it was interesting, maybe we could, but that's not us. Yeah, they I think they really do. They delve deep into the laundromat aspect of it, you know. So that ain't us. That's not. We don't really talk about clothes. You know?
Yeah, but low key, you're gonna have to find outfits now that you're doing video. You're like, oh, I gotta look cute for today's taping. It's a lot. There's pressure.
I'm comfort over the look, so I gotta keep it basic, man. So yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of a struggle. I go around in t-shirts and basketball shorts. I'll be chilling. So, but
I have a feeling the highlight of all of your outfits is going to be your sneakers. I don't know why, but you strike me as like that's where I want you to pay attention. Not maybe, like the whole.
You know what's crazy? I'm actually not. I'm not even a sneakerhead. I'm super chill. Like as far as with clothes and stuff like that. Like I'll be chilling. Like, and of course I'm gonna have nice sneaks. I'm not gonna have bad ones.
Absolutely, but you're not like a huge collector of all the different. Okay.
No. Maybe more of my co-host Leak and Ant. They're probably more into fashion and all that. I'll be simple. I had some slides. I would have some Nike slides.
You're like, slide right in. No socks needed.
Oh
or
no,
like,
no,
you do socks?
I need the socks. Yeah, no, I can't. I gotta have the socks on. I can't.
Even at the beach?
Yeah. No. I don't do the beach.
Okay.
I'm not that bad, but just for YouTube, I can't do that to our viewers, man. I'm gonna have a socks on.
You're like, because now I have to get a pedicure, and now I have to like make sure everything's in line. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. So I'm gonna just throw the Nike sock on and be cool.
All right, I can appreciate it. So YG is white socks with the red bottoms. You are white socks with the slides. That's
with the slides. Yep, that's me. That's me right there.
Yes, K Rose himself. So thank you so much for talking about all this random stuff. You know I love you like little brother to me. I appreciate you coming on here. And yeah, once we're famous, or at least like when you finish season 2, I'd love for you to come back on and talk about more of the show and what you've done.
Oh, I appreciate it. And thank you for having me. It's much love for you as well. And that's super dope. And hopefully we're famous by the end of season 2.
Yeah. Can't wait. You're awesome. All right. Well, I will talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Thank you, Katie.
All right. Bye.